Call this meeting to order. The Effingham County Planning Board meeting of August 15th, 2022. Now in session. I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. We're going to begin this meeting with a word of prayer, and we're going to follow the prayer with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'd like to ask that everyone would stand with for both. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this time. We can come out and discuss these important issues of Effingham County. We just ask that you would be with each and every one here tonight that's represented. May each voice be heard, Lord. Give us all safe travel home. Thank you so much for this great country we live in, Lord, and the men and women that keep us safe. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Thank you. Our agenda, are there any items we need to add or delete from this agenda?
Yes, item number 12, the applicant has requested that we postpone this application to a future meeting date.
That'll be postponed. Anything further?
Nothing further.
Excuse me, can I ask which one that was?
It is item number 12. It's Cindy Howes as agent for Mary Igo. Rezoning from AR1 to I1. That item has been requested to be postponed. Any discussion from the board? I'll call for a motion to approve this agenda. Motion from Mrs. Zipper to approve. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Smith. All those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Minutes from July the 18th. Corrections or additions? Any discussion? Call for a motion to approve these minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion for approval. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Zipper. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. All items presented tonight will be presented again at our Board of Commissioners meeting. That meeting is also a public hearing. Items that are approved as well as denied will move forward to the commissioners. I'd like to ask that everyone who wishes to speak, whenever the item of your concern is called, that you would come forward to the podium, that you would state your name as well as sign your name for the record. Item number 1 is a public hearing for Tammy Y. Green as agent for James F. Moore. Request to rezone 1.62 of 17.91 acres from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the creation of a home site located at 390 South Laurel Circle. This is the 1st district. Is there a representative for Mr. Green, Mrs. Green, or Mr. Moore? Ms. Teresa Concannon, our planning and zoning manager. Do you have a presentation for this item?
Yes, I have a little more information. The applicant has supplied this proposed plat, and what they wish to do is separate this 1.16 acre portion of the larger tract, and in order to do so, they must first rezone it to AR2. Staff's recommending approval.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone that wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? Discussion from the board? No. Call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Zipper. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Item 2, Ms. Melinda Moser requests to rezone 2 of 30 acres from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the creation of a home site located at 4208 Courthouse Road. It's the 1st district. Ms. Teresa, do you have some more information on this?
Yes, this is very similar. The proposal is to split off 2 acres on the frontage of Courthouse Road, just next to the already existing smaller parcels there. So it'll just be another 2-acre parcel there. And because it's less than the 5 acres required for AR1, that we'll have to rezone to AR2. Staff's recommending approval. I don't have the plat. They have a draft, but I didn't get it in time to scan it.
Will it be right adjacent to the other ones?
Yeah,
that are
so just
already
below where that
happening?
star is, they're just continuing that strip of smaller parcels there.
So it's gonna be right beside the little blue
Yeah,
rectangle?
right here.
Gotcha.
And those other ones were created out of the same parcel at some point, or no, we don't?
At some point in the past, I
Yeah.
am not at all familiar with the history there.
Any additional discussion from the board? Is there anyone who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? If nothing from the board, I'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve for staff recommendation.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
Second. Who seconded that?
Mr. Smith, seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Item 3 is a public hearing for Israel Daniel Paez. Request to rezone .97 acres from AR2 to AR1 to allow for a combination of parcels located on Floyd Avenue. This is the 3rd district. Ms. Teresa?
And this is the opposite, so there's an existing, slightly less than 1 acre parcel here with the star on it, and that is proposed to be recombined with this larger parcel. And so the larger parcel is AR1, and the smaller parcel is AR2, so in order to combine them, they have to be the same. So they're going to be, the smaller one will be rezoned to AR1 and combined with the larger parcel. Staff's recommending approval.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Any discussion from the board at this time? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request?
My parcel, so do I need to sign anything? Or?
If you're here, sure, you can come forward and state your name and sign your name.
So that means I can't put an apartment complex there?
Not right now. So did you agree with everything that Ms. Concanon said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? Did you have anything to add?
No, sir, I just wanted to convert it so I can have it all as one.
Perfect.
And even though, we are going through some that were the opposite way, there's no guarantee that you would ever be able to get it zoned back the opposite direction. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, honestly, most of the properties in Akuba, I just want to include everything now. It's my go around for it again, so that's my ultimate goal.
Nothing further from the board. I'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve with staff recommendations.
Motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Higgins, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Thank you, sir.
Have a good evening.
You too, sir. Item 4 is a public hearing for Colby and Carol Stone. Request to rezone 1 of 75.45 acres from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the separation of a home site located at 2414 Carnt Church Road. This is the 3rd district. Ms. Concanon?
All right, this one is going to be split into a total of 3 parcels and is currently zoned AR1, that lighter green color. And anything under 5 acres needs to be rezoned to AR2. So only one of those 3 new parcels will be smaller than 5 acres. And I'm moving the cursor on it right now. It's this little one up here. It's the home site. So what they wish to do is subdivide the existing home site, and that portion needs to be rezoned to AR2. So that is the proposal here. The remainder will be split, as you see, into the 2 larger tracts. Tracts 2 and 3 are 11 and 63 acres. Staff's recommending approval.
Discussion from the board. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? Would you like to speak, ma'am?
I'm Carol Stone. I'm in favor of it, obviously. Sign my name.
Could I get you to state your name again in the microphone, please?
Carol Stone.
Thank you.
So
Did
the remainder of the property. is in
Ma'am, could I
Akuba
get you
now.
to come back to the microphone? I'm sorry.
The remainder of the property is in Akuba, and so that's our goal, is to keep it in Akuba for many years.
So that's the reason you're just taking
This
1
1
acre
acre
off.
piece was always not part of the CUVA for some
I
weird
gotcha.
reason, so we just are taking it out.
I see. All right. Anything else? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Call for a motion.
Make a motion for approval, staff recommendation.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Thompson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Thank you, Ms. Stone.
Item number 5,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to abstain from item number 5.
item number 5 on this evening's agenda is a public hearing from Brooke Graham, request a variance to reduce 150 foot of frontage required for an AR1 parcel. This is located at 310 Kiefer Hill Road, currently zoned AR1. This is in the 3rd district. Is Ms. Graham here, Brooke Graham?
We were informed that she wouldn't be able to be here tonight, so I can fill in
You
for
please.
her.
Ms. McKinnon?
Yeah, so this is currently zoned AR1, as is most of the surrounding area. Some smaller lots are, as you see, zoned for R1. And the proposal here is essentially to combine the 2 larger parcels that you see outlined in blue there. Basically combine those and then re-subdivide into 3. So the property line, the current property line is shifting, and 3 parcels will result from this recombination subdivision. One of them will not have road frontage. It'll be served by an easement. Currently, one is served by an easement, so there's no real, the house is served by an easement, so there's no real change. The issue is that we do have a requirement in AR1 that a parcel have 150 feet of road frontage, and currently, this one does. But by splitting it to give road frontage to this parcel, one of them goes below the 150 feet. So the option is for the owner to either rezone that parcel so they can take advantage of the smaller 100-foot road frontage that's allowed in AR2, or just ask for a variance. Since it's exactly the same process and really no particular benefit is served by rezoning that one parcel just for frontage, the applicant had the option of choosing either one, and they chose to ask for a variance. And staff's supporting it because, again, there's no particular disadvantage to this. If they rezoned, we would have to accept that less than 150-foot frontage. So in this instance, the map stays the same, but the one property owner has the ability to have an AR1 parcel with a smaller than usual road frontage. And the county engineer is familiar with this. He has looked at the driveway issue, and there's no particular conflict that we can see.
So one easement will service 3 lots?
No, one easement will serve the interior lot. So originally, there was this long lot here had all the frontage, and this lot had an easement. So they're reconfiguring the property lines so that a much smaller lot will be served by an easement. This lot, which formerly was landlocked, now gets road frontage, and this lot loses a little bit of road frontage. So it's giving 2 lots road frontage and keeping 1 lot on an easement.
I see. Thank you. Any discussion from the board? Would anyone like to speak for or against this petition? Now I'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion for approval by Mr. Zipper. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ryan. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Item 6, a public hearing for Guy and Roberta Tremblay, request to rezone 5 acres from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the separation of a home site located at 1447 Ebenezer Road, and this is the 5th district. Good evening.
Hi, Roberta Tremblay.
Thank you. Ms. Concanon, do you have some additional information on this?
Yes, so this is actually part of phase 1 of an existing subdivision, Longbridge Estates, and as such, we had to review it a little differently because it is considered a major subdivision, and re-subdivision within a major subdivision requires a little extra scrutiny. Normally, we don't like to see parcels in a subdivision changing drastically in size and being out of conformance with the surrounding properties. But in some cases, of course, that's necessary, or at least not harmful to the subdivision in general. So no other lots in Longbridge Estates, either Phase 1 or Phase 2, are less than 5 acres. If this were rezoned and subdivided, it would end up with both of them being less than 5 acres. A second home is permitted, and in fact has been constructed there. There are 2 homes on this site, and under county ordinances, in AR1, a second home can be permitted for a family member. So that actually is the case. There are 2 homes on that parcel. So splitting it is just an extra step that the owner wishes to take in order to separate, potentially ownership of the 2 home sites. And that is where the issue is. This is the proposed subdivision or re-subdivision of that parcel. So there's a small, let me see, it's 1.04 acre strip there, and then the remainder at the 3.96 acres. It's in general not, there's not so much an ordinance prohibition against this. It's just that we do try to take into consideration the general size and appearance of the surrounding parcels, and this will be smaller than all of any surrounding part except this little one over here. That's a small one there, but generally speaking, the subdivision has fairly large lots. They're all around 5 acres or more. So this is a little concerning. We don't know about future plans to, if there are future plans to subdivide further, and that, could affect the integrity of the subdivision as a whole. This little cul-de-sac here on the corner, that's actually a private road, whereas the remainder of the subdivision over here has a road that's been deeded to the county. So this is a private road. And that would actually be a concern. Currently, there's 2 lots being specifically served by that private road, and at this time, the proposed subdivision won't change that. That they both have road frontage, so there's no real change there on Ebenezer Road. Second home has been permitted, so as it stands, county ordinances have allowed the current 2 home sites on this parcel to take place, and as I said, subdividing it further is not at all a county requirement. It's not at all necessary from our point of view, but if it's the wish of the applicant, then it must be rezoned because the parcels will both be less than 5 acres. So we're recommending approval kind of tentatively in the sense that there's no reason, we don't see any particular harm here, although it is true that the new lot will be a good deal smaller than any surrounding lot.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Do you have anything you wish to add to that, or?
Well, no, I mean, we did do our
Could I get, ma'am, did you state your name?
Roberta Tremblay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, before we started this, we did come up and we got the okay that it could be done. So it is just over 1 acre separated. It does have frontage on Ebenezer Road, just as the other house does, with almost the remaining 4 acres. So, I mean, it's pretty clear cut. There's 2 houses.
It was built for a member of our family that's passed away now. So, I mean, whether we separate it or not, somebody's still going to live there. But if it's rented, it's probably better if somebody lives there and owns it, But, and we don't have any immediate plans, but we just want to get it straight.
Yes. All right, questions, comments?
No further plans to subdivide any further?
No.
No.
We've been there 26 years, so we don't
understand.
think we're going to do anything else.
Is,
So you're gonna stay on basically the 4 acres, and you're gonna sell off the acre?
is there anything, I mean, I can understand the request, and the 1 acre is not the part I have a concern with. We've got the ability to now create 3 other lots on the other parcel with the zoning.
No, because there's no street frontage on the rest of the property.
Depends on how you divide it.
You can make 3 lots out of 4 acres.
Well, there isn't enough room to get there from Ebenezer.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that's your intent. I'm trying
No.
to figure out, even if that is not your intent, how do we just, other than me making it clear in the minutes that we all understand that, assuming this goes a certain direction, that there is no intent to subdivide that rest of that
Well, that's
further.
why it was done where it was, because that's the only place that we would have frontage off of Ebenezer as far as
Off an
entry.
improved road, because the other road is, it's not an accepted road, you know.
For the 1 acre, yeah, I do understand that. The 3 acres is the part of the
The
concern.
property doesn't abut any other neighbor's property either, so, you know, being on that corner.
Well, I mean that, but you also don't want to start a trend for the whole subdivision. I mean, everything out there is, you know.
And that's it.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, that's-
if there were still 5 acres left, that was still staying as the
Yeah,
AR2.
yeah.
I'm just a little concerned about that remaining parcel.
Yes.
Is there some control that we can put on it that's beyond that, so it's clear that the intention, when we do this today, that the intention is that it's 2 lots and it's gonna stay as 2 lots, no matter what the zoning changes to.
I mean, it's just, your motion's a recommendation to the commissioners. You can put any stipulations you want to on it. Did it not be further subdivided if you wish to, you know,
Okay.
say that?
That's fine, because there is no plan to do that,
Okay.
To do what?
subdivide any further.
No.
No.
Any further discussion this time? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? Call for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve with the special stipulation that that parcel that is 4 acres can never be subdivided beyond, in the future.
That's fine.
Any discussion on this motion? Call for a second.
I'll second.
Have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Item 7 is a public hearing from Melissa Dufford, request a conditional use for a residential business located at 2165 Highway 17 South. This is on AR1, it's the first district. Ms. Teresa?
Ms. Dufford wishes to, I'm sorry, her proposal is to have a residential business on her she approached us for a business license, and the way that we can accommodate that is to get a conditional use for a residential business. So that's why she's here tonight. And her proposed business is a dog grooming business that will be operated out of her home. There are a few criteria that we pay particular attention to from the residential business regulations, and one is compatibility with the surrounding area. So this applicant's property is over an acre, and the residence is already there, and it's over 130 feet from the nearest dwelling. So it's, you know, nicely spaced. It's not too close. So if in the event of a dog barking, there shouldn't be any particular harm resulting from that. The proposed business is a small-scale dog grooming operation, 5 or fewer dogs per day, and it'll operate during daylight hours. The square footage of the home, the square footage of the business within the home is approximately 100 square feet of the home, and that's less than the 700-foot or 35% limit, so she's well within the regulations there. And the final one is public road frontage. This property, it does have frontage on Highway 17 South. So with all of that taken into consideration, we are recommending approval of this residential business conditional use.
Thank you, Ms. Teresa. Do you have anything you wish to add to that?
No.
Could I get you to state your name for the record, please?
Melissa Dufford.
Okay. And so basically, just as she said, very few clients, only during the day?
Yes.
And the dogs, they don't stay any extended
No,
period
they
of
don't
time.
stay. I only do one-on-one, so a dog would come, I would groom the dog would go home, the next client would come. There may be a little overlapping, you know, between somebody getting there to pick up and drop off, but there's not gonna be at any time just massive amounts of dogs sitting there barking or anything.
Okay. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? There's no further discussion. I'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion for approval. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Item 8 is a public hearing for Crystal Jewel, request a conditional use for a residential business located at 539 Central Avenue, zoned AR1. It's the first district. Ms. Teresa?
And this is a similar type of request. In order to issue a business license, we have to have a commercial type category. And rather than rezoning the property, a residential business conditional use is a fairly low impact process for an applicant to take. So the proposed business is a small-scale salon, in which she'll be the sole employee. The business will operate during daylight hours in the home. The area of the residence that's devoted to the business is about 200 square feet. So again, that's less than the 700 square foot limit on a residential business. The property does have road frontage on both Canucci Avenue and Central Avenue. And there's a site plan that's been provided here. Let's see, yeah, right here. A home occupation, and this applies to the last one too, a home occupation type business license prohibits visitors from coming to the house. So while staff could have signed off on a home occupation, that undermines the entire business because this is about people coming to the house. So a residential business is the more appropriate one.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Yeah, James Allen, and I live across the street. As far as the impact, what does that mean for my taxes? What does that mean if she leaves and somebody else buys it and buys the place next to it and makes a parking lot in front of my house?
So if she, I mean, this business is basically hers. I mean, if she does away with the business, it's over. They'll have to, someone else buys it, they'll have to start this process all over.
Okay.
They'll have to come back and make the request.
Yeah, it's not a rezoning. There's no change
Okay.
to the map. It's really just a.
Well, I was informed that they had to fill in to make a parking lot for 3 spaces.
I don't
Rumor.
believe, I don't believe staff
Rumor.
told them to do that. That may be something that they're planning to do.
I was told that the county wanted them to do that. They had to put landfill in and build up behind the house on Ogeechee, which is where I live. So there's, 3 spaces of commercial parking, in front of my house.
No, we don't require that. This is not a commercial rezoning, so that is, the idea of a residential business is that the neighbors really don't notice that anything's happening, but they are allowed, the residential business conditional use allows them to obtain a business license, which is necessary for tax purposes. So the idea is that you would really not notice any extra traffic. You wouldn't see signs, you wouldn't see parking, you wouldn't see vehicles with, logos on them. So nobody in our development services, as far as I know, informed the applicant that they needed to add fill for parking.
Well, that was something I'd heard from the neighbor adjacent to them, that they had heard from somebody else. That's what they were told.
Okay, well, we can contact the applicant. Is the applicant here? No.
I mean, I've been living there all my life. I don't want to see it. Y'all can come take the paved roads up if you want to. I wanted it to stay dirt. But, so,
I mean,
whatever that means.
The whole objective of what she's asking for is not to have to change the surrounding areas. I mean, it should fit with the house and the way it's set up now.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. I was actually the member of staff that spoke to the applicant, and what we discussed is in no way providing commercial parking, just that she had to have a designated area, which is shown on the site plan. So she in no way should be under the impression that she needs to make significant.
I don't know. Like I say, I heard that, but I heard it from, another neighbor that's quite informative, so. Like I say, I didn't see it in writing, but anyway.
All right, so
All right,
thank
thank
you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak, either in favor or against this request? Any additional discussion? Call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Motion for approval. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Zipper. All's in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Item 9 is a public hearing for Tony Sunderhouse. Request approval for a pond less than 1 acre in size located at 617 Nice Road, Zone AR2. This is the second district. Good evening, sir.
How you doing?
Ms. Teresa, do you have the information on this one?
I do. This is an application for a pond of less than 1 acre. The applicant actually was put in touch with the county engineer, and they did discuss the best management practices that are required for digging a pond and staying within all Clean Water Act requirements. So at this time, we are recommending approval, and we will be providing the applicant with all of the technical information that the county engineer has provided to us for his use.
All right, sir. Yes, sir.
I just, Tony Sunderhouse, I just want to make sure I can get my permit to dig my pond.
All right, sir. And are you familiar with some of the rules she's talking about? I mean, hours of operation and plan of what you're gonna do with the water and everything else?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. We already went through it. I had it all signed off on how we were gonna do the pumping and everything. It's just a small pond. It's only 100 by 100. They can do it in no time.
I got you.
You know, it's not very big.
So is that site plan showing the new driveway being put in to build the pond?
That's where I had rock put in to go through there so it doesn't eat up the driveway. And we put $3,000 worth of rock going on to the main highway out there. And coming out of my driveway right there, we put rock there. So the road's better than it's ever been in 4 years. It's all asphalt millings and rock. I mean, it's really done. And they'll maintain the road every day when they're done for the day.
Okay.
They bring a little tractor with them and they make sure they grade the road. So the road will be kept.
That water discharge hose, that's going into a ditch, or what is it going into?
Yes, sir, it's going into a ditch. But they got a big, they got it silt fence, rocked, and got a big, bag that it's going into.
Mattress.
Yes, sir.
And that's going into the county ditch, going
Yes,
down
sir.
the side of
But
the
it's
highway.
going through a filter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going through a filter, and then we even cleaned the culverts out down the road that had been blocked up for years, where the rainwater wouldn't drain. We even cleaned those out to make sure that the water runs free. You know, it's just gonna go right down to that end, to that corner, into that wetland that's back there. There's not gonna be a whole lot of water anyway, you know, just for that little bit of a
Right.
pond. So,
Any further discussion? No. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? All right. Call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve with staff recommendations.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 10 is a public hearing for Amber Edenfield, requests a conditional use to allow for daycare as a residential business located at 521 Adelante, how you say that?
Alante?
Adelante?
Yeah.
Adelante Lanes on R1, it's the 4th District. Good evening. Ms. Concanon, you wish to give this
Yes,
presentation?
we have a request here for a conditional use to allow daycare in R1 zoning. This is Lonesome Oak subdivision, and we first found out about this daycare operation because of complaints from neighbors. Our code enforcement officer did go out and visit, and Ms. Edenfield's recourse through the courts is to request the conditional use, and if approved, then the daycare could continue to operate. We have looked at it from, under conditional use, we do have some criteria that we need to look at, and we have considered also some input from neighbors and the HOA as regards the covenants of the subdivision which prohibit this kind of activity. So the first one we look at is whether the activity would adversely affect economic values or physical appearance of the surrounding areas. So of course, daycare facilities, especially near residential areas, are really convenient and they're very necessary. However, we do have to take into account the other uses around there. The applicant hasn't been clear, as far as we can tell, as to the number of children, and that may or may not affect state permitting and state licensing. The local Lonesome Oak HOA has objected to the presence of this business in their neighborhood. Several members of the HOA have contacted us and provided letters. The business is operating currently without a business license, and to date there have been multiple complaints from neighbors to the code enforcement. The physical and environmental effects, We don't anticipate pollution per se, but there is traffic effects, and there are effects of just of traffic on the road, and potential for the congestion to affect the neighbor's quality of life. Buffer zones, this is not a commercial area, this is not a commercial parcel, there are no commercial buffers, there's no commercial parking, it's a residential neighborhood. This property is at the end of near the end of a cul-de-sac, so it's potentially pretty congested there. There is no buffer on the parcel, and so if approved, we would need to move forward and ensure that screening was put in place. Another criteria to consider is additional parking for landscaping, or additional parking, landscaping, building and loading zones and setbacks to protect adjacent structures or lots from adverse impact. And again, the site is not suitable for business use. It's just over 1/2 acre, and it does not have sufficient space for off-street parking for clients. Client traffic, in fact, is already causing delays for other residents and commuters on the roadway. At this time, we are recommending denial of this conditional use, and the applicant is here with more information.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Ms. Edenfield?
Yes,
Yes,
Amber Edenfield.
Good evening.
Currently, I have 3 to 5 kids who come to my house. 2 of them are siblings, and a lot of it's because of time that their parents have to go to work. They're getting dropped off at 4:30 in the morning, and then they can't go to school until the school bus comes at 6:30. So they're going to school and then riding the school bus to my house in the afternoons. But I have 3 kids that I keep during the day, and 2 kids that do before and after school.
What are the ages of those children?
The before and after school, or
Ones
the,
that you keep during the day, when the other kids are at school?
there's a 9-month-old and 2 2-year-olds. Well, one might be 3. I'm not exactly sure, 2 to 3.
And so were you aware of any of this business or license or any?
No, and I've been babysitting kids for friends of mine for 10 years. I mean, that's all I've done for 10 years is just help out, a friend or family member, and that's what I have now. A couple of friends that needed help early in the morning, and I help them out because daycares typically do not open before 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Any?
Well, it's nice of her to do that, but she's setting precedents, and that's a residential area that has restrictive covenants, apparently. You have a homeowners association.
And I didn't know when we've lived here for a year in this neighborhood, and I was not familiar. I mean, I was doing it in my other home in Rincon prior to, and everybody just came with me when I moved, the couple of kids that I was watching, and I didn't know.
Gotcha. Any further discussion this time? Ms. Enfield, we may have a few questions for you in a moment.
Okay.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request?
Hello, my name is Crystal Ibsen. I am on the HOA with Lonesome Oak. So we have, like you said, received several complaints from neighbors that live in or around, mainly because there's 2 ways in and out of our neighborhood. And with that being said, it is against our HOA covenants. I believe our president, who's not here, sent an email to somebody within the board for our HOA and attached our HOA covenants to it. Whenever Ms. Enfield moved in, they are required to sign something that states that they know that they're living in an HOA. And that's all I have to add, is that it's just basically against our HOA covenants, and our neighbors, we moved into an HOA for a reason. We pay our dues for a reason. Yep.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Christopher Hedden. I live directly across the street from this daycare. I moved here a year ago, and when we moved here, bought the place, it was very nice and quiet. It got out of Savannah, the islands, nice place too, but very hectic. And it's just been a nightmare having that daycare across the street, because I've had children you know, playing in the street, coming up into my driveway, getting close to my vehicles, and in some cases even going into my garage when I leave it open. And the other thing is too, is Miss Edenfield has not been honest with y'all, and she's doing things this way now because she got caught. She had an opportunity to do things the right way, to start her own business elsewhere in a commercial property zone. As it's stated, and I know this for a fact, I signed the same covenant order stating I understand what the rules are, I agree to those rules, and, you know, if I break those rules, there are consequences. This is no different. I mean, this is severely impacting, you know, the people around us, traffic, kids. I mean, when she's saying 5 or 6, this is more on the order of like 15. I could tell you right now that because I'd been in between jobs for a month after she got shut down by the state, that I've seen at least 8 cars a day picking up kids. And it's because I've been home and I like to know what's going on around me, and I've seen them. And it's the same cars every day. And in some cases, some other ones that I haven't seen in a while when she had a lot of kids there. And I just, you know, it's to the point where I cannot enjoy where I live as much as I would like to. And I moved there for a reason, to have that peace, to have that, you know, ability to enjoy the surroundings and everything, and not have cars hauling up and down the street, you know, into the cul-de-sac. We've had an accident in front of there as well, where the Effingham County Sheriff had to come out because one client backed into another client's car. And I've even had people parking on my grass. I don't want it. She's welcome to have the business, but go find herself a commercial property and do it the right way that way. Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Yes, sir.
Brooks Ibsen. I live across the street. My family and I, we moved out to Effingham from Savannah to raise our family. I have 2 young children, 6 years old and 3 years old. And they're outside 7 days a week. If it's raining, they still want to go outside. And our neighbor has four kids, all in elementary school. Besides them, there's kids up and down that street. And they all, if you look at the property map, there's 2 ponds right there. There's kids fishing in those every single day. They're walking up and down the street. They're riding their bikes up and down the street. And the traffic from the daycare is just horrific. As Chris said, there's been accidents. I've had people parked in my yard. Other neighbors have also had cars parked in their yard. This is really about the safety of my children when they're playing outside. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Ms. Edenfield, I mean, if you wish to make a few brief comments.
Yeah, I have to say the traffic was really bad back before the summer, I guess, before school got out. And then I had surgery on my arm, so I had a friend at the house watching the kids under my supervision, like lifting the kids, because I couldn't lift. I was in an arm splint for 6 weeks. So I had a few extra kids, and it did get out of control, and I was really happy when the state showed up and said, you got to send these kids home. So I did, and I've only been keeping what I am allowed to keep under the state limits, which is 2 for pay, and the other ones are friends that I help out with their children before and after school for no pay. And if I'm not working, they're still going to continue to come because there's no law saying that my friends' kids can't get on and off the bus at my house, you know, because of their work schedules. So I'm still going to have a few cars in and out every day because I'm home and I help out people with their kids before and after school. And I babysit for my son's friend who had a baby. My son passed away a few years ago from cancer. And she's young, and I watch him for free. 2 days a week.
Well, I mean,
I was just told that if you babysit one child for pay in Effingham County, you have to have a business license. That's what I was told.
and I believe that is correct. Isn't that right, Ms. Concanon?
I'm gonna
I mean,
defer to.
you're running a business.
Yes, if you have a business based in the county, then you need a business license.
I mean, this is tough because she could have 5 children of her own or 7 children of her own. I mean, so children, I mean, I lived in a subdivision just like this for a long time, and children run up and down the streets. You know, friends, family coming over, dropping off any time of the day or any time of the night. I mean, that's
I have
not
that.
something we can police. But for me, I think, you know, for this and where it is, the line gets drawn at business. I mean, I think that's where, you know, I'm having a problem. That's probably not what, you know, you want to hear is, you know, if she has friends or family coming at some certain times of the day. I mean, but as long as she's not running a business, I mean, I don't see where it's any of the county's business, is my opinion. So.
And I mean, I'm a pretty big believer in the government trying to stay out of the way of the people. But I also then believe that if I bought in a coveted community that specifically said no businesses, then that's the controlling aspect, and that's what I would look to. So I couldn't vote to approve a business in a community that has covenants against them.
I agree. Do you wish to make any comments?
I think that, you know, as I said earlier, I respect what she's trying to do, but she's setting precedents, and so I will not vote in favor of it.
Any further discussion? All right, I call for a motion.
Make a motion to deny.
Have a motion for denial. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second. All's in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Ms. Concanon, this is a residential business, so this doesn't go to the commissioners.
No, this is a conditional
is-
use.
Oh, this is
So,
conditional
yeah,
use?
in R1, daycares are among the uses that are permitted as a conditional use, so it's not a residential business conditional use.
But it says it's a conditional use as a residential business. And residential businesses
Mr.
don't go to
Chairman,
the commission. Ma'am.
there were several ways we were looking at treating this initially, because it does also then require a business license at the end of it. So I apologize, you have an earlier draft. It is a conditional use, which then would get a business license as a home occupation, even though it does not
So does it go
subscribe
to
to
the
that.
commissioners?
It will go to the commissioners.
So it will go to before the commissioners. This board's a recommendation, so it will go before the county commissioners. You know the date?
September 6th.
Set on September 6th at 6:00 p.m. Good luck. Item 11 is a public hearing for Cindy House as agent for Ansgarhay LLC. A request to rezone 72.15 acres from AR1 to I1 to allow for a future industrial use located at 108 Godley Road, 1st and 2nd District. Did I say that right? Ansgarhay?
It is, yes.
Ansgarhay? Ansgarhay?
Oh, that I can't speak to.
Yes, that's correct.
Ms. Teresa, do you wish to?
Okay. Yes, and it is in the 1st and 2nd district. The two pieces that are highlighted there are actually split by the Commissioner's District boundary line into the 1st and 2nd district. So that's an unusual one. So this is a request to rezone 72 acres from AR1 to I1. That area, as you probably know around Godley Road, does have some surface mine activity. Here's the zoning map. and we'll see some over here. This is some of the surface mine activity just a little further down. This is Chatham County, as far as we can tell. This is Port Wentworth jurisdiction right here, and the remaining portion of this land. And that's based on this plat here and also the tax records that we looked up for Chatham County. The two pieces that we're talking about tonight are these represented approximately by the location of these stars, and this is the remaining portion in Chatham County. So, that being said, this is a request to rezone this land. We do not have a development plan. We did not submit for regional review because we do not have a development plan. We do not know the exact nature of business or activity that's proposed for this site. The site does not have direct access to a public road, and so that is our first concern, that it is not linked in any way to a public road. In the past, with other activities on this parcel was used to access Godley Road. So this is the site of the Big Nasty. I believe film was shot out there a year or so ago. So this is the access that has been used for other activities in the past, but it's not part of the rezoning application. So what we're looking at is basically these two segments of a larger tract that are in Effingham County that are being requested to rezone to industrial. And because we lack a development plan, because we lack road frontage, staff are recommending denial of this. We don't have enough information to go forward. Godley Road also, if one were to take it to Highway 80, actually travels through Effingham County, Chatham County, unincorporated, and Bloomingdale. City of Bloomingdale has sent a letter requesting that we deny this because they are concerned about the effect of trucks, increasing amount of truck traffic on the road in their jurisdiction and the expense of maintaining it. And they're looking at enacting ordinances to regulate truck traffic on their road. That is basically all I have because, as I said, we don't have a development plan. I did note that because of the size of the parcels, they're relatively narrow, that if it were to be rezoned and depending on the proposed use, if it were heavy industrial, for example, a 300-foot buffer around the perimeter would basically eliminate any potential use. There's just not any space, not much space left. So again, because we don't have a development plan, we can't kind of work with it and see where buffers could be adjusted or berms could be included. That's just not possible with this application.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Ms. Howes?
Hi, I'm Cindy Howes. What we're trying to do, we already have a dirt pit approved. There are 5 others that are along that road. It is approved and has already been rezoned I-1. We're trying to just tie the whole parcel together as one. We do have a recorded easement on down the road in Chatham. It doesn't show up on this, but Port Wentworth has already, given us a letter stating that this can be recorded as industrial. And like I say, we've already, Reese, which used to be Baker Construction, is the ones who have done the research and the work to get the industrial for the dirt pit that's already approved. And I don't know if, Ms. Teresa, if you want a copy of this letter from Port Wentworth.
We would like that for the file. Yeah, a few years ago we did, it was a request to rezone 8 acres to industrial for surface mine was approved. We haven't received a plat, so we've actually never changed the zoning map because we don't have an actual site plan of that either, so.
We don't have anything set in stone.
Ms. House, could you come back to the microphone, please? Thank you.
The easement, if she wants to see a picture.
Okay, would you like a copy of the easement?
The
recorded easement that we have that's further down.
Well, it would be really helpful if we had some sort of concept plan that showed us where activities would take place and where the trucks would.
We don't know. Right now, we're just trying to get it all together as one piece with one zoning. As you guys know, and I mean, it's gonna come up with this other, there are other properties in that area that right now the ports is growing like crazy, y'all know this. In the February 2022, when the state of the ports gave their address, they are growing by leaps and bounds, and between now and 2025 will grow 60% more than what they've already grown now. What that means for these surrounding counties, our county, Bryan County, everybody, is the industrial is coming our way. Unfortunately, for a lot of the residential, and most of these people in the residential, the Oglesbys, the Otchkins, all of these other people that are already around there, they're being talked to by people already that are working with the ports. All of that's fixing to turn industrial. I mean, that's just the way it's coming. And, I mean, Griff Lina, in the speech that was given February 24th, he said they were going to be increasing their, hold on just a second, let me get they're going to be increasing their TEUs, which are their containers. They're going to be increasing them by 9.5 million in the next 3 years. As y'all probably heard on WTOC about a week ago, there were like 44 ships waiting off of the coast. They couldn't even get in because they didn't have room for all the containers. So it's coming.
So, Ms. Howes, on this particular industrial, so I just want to be clear. We're looking at 72 acres. I believe you said we had 8 acres that was already approved for surface mine.
Yes, actually it's 70 acres that's already approved.
Miss,
In
I'm
Effingham.
sorry. I
I'm
need
sorry.
you
keep
to
backing up
speak into
'cause I
that
keep looking
microphone.
up.
I know.
It's actually 70 acres that are already approved for a dirt pit, 8 acres in Effingham County, and the rest is in Port Wentworth. But it's all coming out on this road, along with the other 5 dirt pits that are already coming out daily. I mean, there are hundreds of trucks going in and out of there every day.
So is the intent to mine dirt? Is that why
Right
you're
now it
doing
is,
industrial?
yes. Yes, right now it is. Right now, we're just trying to get it all one zoning in that area.
But
And it's already,
I realize I'm not real smart, but this rezoning is for 72 acres.
yes. It's part of a larger tract, which part of it's in Effingham, part of it's in Port Wentworth.
But
and
we're
Chatham.
only looking at what's in
In
Effingham.
Effingham, right. I've got to go to Port Wentworth, but I also have a letter from them saying that that property is already.
But I've only heard that we've previously rezoned 8 acres, so now we're adding this 72 to the 8 acres?
My understanding is that Reese, which is Baker Construction, used to be, they have already carried it through with the rest of the dirt pit.
I'm lost.
Me too.
Now,
I might can help you. I'm Greg House. The gentleman that's behind us is interested in the property as well as 2 other folks. There's like 3 or 4 folks looking at massive tracts over there. There's 15-acre tract, a 10-acre tract, and then Bobby Oglesby's, and they're talking to all these folks. And they want to rezone the property. The pit is approved at the state level. R.B. Baker, or excuse me, Reese, they've changed their name now, has a state permit for a 70-acre dirt pit. That's part Effingham, part Chatham. So that's where we stand now. We're trying to basically rezone the property to industrial. Part of it already is. The part in Chatham is, and part of the part in Effingham is, and the part that joins us down with Otchins, theirs is zoned industrial, down at the end of our property, where that pit is. So that's what we're doing.
Can you clarify which part that's highlighted in yellow is currently zoned?
Which part what?
See that on that map?
Yeah, this is from a plat. This corresponds to
Yeah.
these two. So they're currently zoned AR1. There is an 8-acre section of, I think the top one, which was rezoned a few years ago for surface mine, we don't have a subdivision plat showing us exact location. So we've not been able to change the map because we don't have, you know,
I
unless we have a
apologize for that.
plat.
That's the first I've heard of that. And I assume R.B. Baker knew what they were doing, so maybe I need to get with them and see that they follow up with you, get you whatever you need.
I'll just say this, the tax assessor has particular rules about this kind of thing, and sometimes we get a subdivision plat, sometimes we don't. It's not that unusual, so that's why we haven't ever come and contacted you about this.
I'd be glad to follow up on that.
But if you could follow up, that'd be great. So we do see that sometimes applicants will follow up with the tax assessor and will do subdivisions for tax purposes. They will, that's a whole set of rules that we can't control and don't always fully understand. In this case, we weren't terribly surprised not to receive a specific subdivision plat for those 8 acres because we knew it was part of the Chatham County property as well. So this was not something we were particularly concerned about. At the time that was approved, there was a good deal of discussion about accessing Godley Road and using this I believe, if you all are accessing Godley Road in Effingham County, then this track, I believe, is where it's happening. But you referenced an easement in Port Wentworth. So if there's access into Chatham County, then we don't have any development plan or copy of the mining plan to show us that that's the exclusive access. That potentially could change, certainly Bloomingdale's.
When it was approved by Mr. What's his name? Floyd, that was one of the conditions he put in the zoning, that it had to come out in Chatham. That's where that easement is. So you'll
Okay.
look back on that, that does.
So when you go to that easement, what is that right there on the left, that, in this aerial picture? What is that right there? It's industrial. What is that?
It's about at the top left corner.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that parking and everything up there in the,
It was a ATV park.
it was a recreational ATV.
If you,
And it was a film.
if you go to the large picture, let me go back to the big.
Was this the track that years ago, Greg, that was motorcycles running all over?
Yes, yeah. that was-
I remember.
Yeah,
Big
we,
nasty.
for 15 years, we had an ATV park with motorcycle, track and all that stuff. And
All
it
right,
got to the
so-
point where I got
And there
tired of
was a
it.
lot of traffic then.
Yeah.
Here, this pond over here at the bottom, let's see, I'll look at yours so I can show you where it's at. This is industrial, this is warehouses.
Is that yours?
No, this is some of the folks that are looking at all this.
Okay.
They're trying to buy this whole area. This is the Baker construction part right here that backs up to this area. So Godley Road is right here, and they're trying to come off of Godley.
They're accessing off Jimmy DeLoach to those parts,
And
right?
Not Godley, Jimmy DeLoach.
Yes, yes,
But they're
yes.
trying to buy everything through
Right.
there, including, they're gonna be trying to look at houses, including just like old industrial roads.
Right. So, I mean,
What's to the north of that? Is that all just wetlands?
north of what?
It
Well,
was part of
you know, where
a
the two
larger
stars are,
tract.
what's that to the left of that in that light green shade? Is that all?
I originally owned 1,600 acres out there, and back in about 8 years ago, I did a wetland conservation on the wetland part of it, and now deeded it to Georgia Southern University and set it aside, and so it's protected now. We had 1,600 acres of that. We gave away 1,400 acres to be protected.
So is that near the Savannah, is that gonna eventually, those little tributaries in there, does that go to the Savannah River? Where's the Savannah River compared to that?
It's a long ways.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah, we're
That,
30 miles, probably 20 miles.
This is
Used
off
to-
of Highway
You
80.
used to could drive through that track and come out at Park West, Caribbean Village. On Highway 30.
Down
the big
30,
St.
okay,
Augustine
okay,
Creek.
okay.
You also used to could drive through it and come out over there at, where the crossover is. What's the name of that, the new one?
Manheim?
On 21, the big crossover, and there's a road that goes up in there that says no through traffic. You used to come out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Minehart Road, many
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah, yeah.
But they closed it off when they did the industrial track, Morgan Industrial Track. That got closed off at that point.
So, Mr. Howes, one more time. I mean, I assume what's colored is 72 acres.
Yes, sir. And she's talking about the distance. I mean, we have 75 acres right that joins it in Chatham.
Okay, I got that. And that doesn't affect us. But you said we've already approved 8 acres
In
Yes,
Effingham County.
previously.
yes.
Yes.
Where is it?
Up at the top.
That's that little block at the top?
Portion of the little block?
Yes, sir.
But Cindy was saying we were gonna combine this, is that correct?
But what I was saying is,
We have 2 different zonings, that's all.
right now, the top is I-1,
Yeah,
and then it's got this that connects with it in Chatham,
right.
which is also I-1, and then you've got AR-1. So we're just trying to take the whole parcel and make it one zoning rather than having it split between so many different zonings. And it is connected, but it's connected through Chatham, not through Effingham.
Okay, I understand that better now.
So is this also trying to remove the restriction? Because I'm assuming that originally it was just for market, right?
We don't have a development plan, and even if this is just gonna be a border that actually ends up being the buffers of a larger development for container storage, we don't have any information, and that's why we are recommending denial, because there's not enough information to rezone these 2 strips to industrial and risk traffic inundating Godley Road, which is not designed for truck traffic and is already overburdened.
It has about,
But adding truck traffic and containers and
Yeah.
that level of activity that you're referring to, that to serve the support,
Yeah.
is what Bloomingdale is concerned about, and why they've given us a letter in opposition to 2 projects so far. No project has gone ahead.
we
on Godley
already
Road.
approved for the sand pit.
But your intent is to make a sand pit.
Well, we may expand it, but we'd have to come back through for that. I don't have any plans to do,
We're just trying to.
we've got interest from the folks in between us and Jimmy DeLoach.
Okay.
And they're very interested. They're trying to buy everybody out there.
So, I just want to be clear before we get anybody else up there. The only way you'll dig this dirt pit is it goes out to Jimmy
No,
DeLoach?
we're already approved for the dirt pit.
This is not to rezone for the
The dirt pit
That's already done.
is at state approval. We already have a permit in hand from the state, and our Baker does. There was another one that the other Baker construction just got approved right down 300 yards down the road, and they're just hauling, been hauling for about a year now. And the Ochins are still hauling, and so that's already been approved. This is for the remainder of the property that's not zone industrial.
So this is not gonna be for a dirt pit?
No, sir.
We don't.
It's not my plan for a dirt pit. I'm planning on selling it.
So the idea of it is if you can get it zone industrial, it'll connect up with the other properties around it that's in the.
That's what makes it, that's what they're interested in. They want property that's been rezoned before they commit to it. And they want to come all the way out to Jimmy DeLoach is what they're trying to tie. It's gonna be probably 400 or 500 acres.
And I can see the idea, but without a plan behind it of how, and I know you don't control those properties, but if they're working on it, I just can't wrap my head around how the access would work to it right now, so.
Well, this gentleman comes all the way, the one that's already zoned industrial. You can't see the property lines here because it's Chatham, but.
Well, it's the end of this road right here.
It comes to here, and the old road comes to here. So he's basically there now.
All right, I think we've beat this enough. I want to let these people speak. I think they're here to speak. Thank y'all. We may have some questions for y'all in a minute.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Do you wish to speak on this item? Okay. So then for clarification purposes, you're not asking to access this property industrially using Godley Road?
The Effingham part of it?
Not through the Effingham
No.
part. It'll be through the Chatham part.
Right.
But still accessing through God.
Any of it. You're not going, did I say that right?
If you get it zoned industrial, then you have a buyer with the appetite to acquire it, and then they'll access it through the other.
They will have to come back and get a sketch plan approved, any buyer. And I don't have any knowledge to do that, because I have no idea how that works with the
I
industrial.
guess what I'm saying is, the only way we can truly zone it tonight is with the Godly Road access, because that's the only access we have.
Well-
And it's through Chatham County, further down.
Well, is it,
It's not on there,
but it's,
but we have the easement for it. That's
Right. Right, we have the permit for the 70-acre dirt pit that's already approved for that road, not going out to Jimmy DeLoach.
that's right,
To
using Godly Road.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That's approved.
That's correct.
And what we're asking for is the remainder of our property be zone consistent. And you're fixing to get a bunch of that.
No, I mean, we're well aware, but I mean, we can't put, I mean, we've denied things on, Godly or Stagecoach, industrial, because.
You're already getting the dirt pit traffic, that's already approved.
Well, he withdrew his.
Yeah, but a dump truck in a temporary dirt pit's different than,
Not a temporary dirt pit.
Well, it would be. It would probably last 10 or 12 years, something like that.
but, I mean, industrial is forever. So, I mean, we have not supported industrial traffic, at least this board hasn't, industrial traffic on Stagecoach.
How does one, well, I guess what they'll have to do, the problem is getting the buyers confident enough to buy something, because you've got cities like Port Wentworth and Bloomingdale that are causing problems now. And the governor, that road was meant for the ports, Jimmy DeLoach, we know that.
Absolutely.
And he's also stated he doesn't want any more residential development on that road. He wants it to all be, and also Bloomingdale is getting some guidance now, from what I understand. Well, the latest I've heard is they're gonna let everything on the right side go to industrial. They're trying to not let it go on the inside side where the city is, but I guess you're trying to get a buyer and a seller together, so I guess you have to, it's just a balance, you know, they're wanting
Well, you
the
need
best
it
money.
rezoned. Obviously, that's the first step. If it's rezoned, it's a whole lot easier to
Right.
find a buyer.
Right.
Um,
And that's what we're here for.
But if the buyer would present a sketch plan accessing that property through,
Until they are able to acquire all that other stuff, and they're dealing with Bloomingdale on that, and that's a big problem.
To me, it's kind of like Old Augusta. Once they got all the residents over there on board and they selling off all their property, it went through, no problems.
Well, I mean, I'm not speaking for anyone else. I mean, I would, and of course I did this, I remember making the motion for Omnitrex deal, and I said, you know, I would support that development, not on Hodgeville or Blue Jay, of course, or Montcall, but, of course, you know, we see what's happened, you know, until the Parkway came. I mean, and I would say, sure, I'll support this I-1. I mean, as long as it's not accessed by Godly Road. I mean.
Well, you and I both know timing is the most important thing in real estate.
Sure.
On any situation is timing, and they're trying to get, because you're dealing with you're dealing with Effingham, Port Wentworth, and Bloomingdale, and Chatham County is what they're gonna be dealing with.
Right.
And it's about to blow some minds, but anyway, it's still gonna happen, but.
Can I ask a question of Teresa again? Can we go back to the one zoning map? I think it was Chatham County.
Mhm.
So it's got a PD zoning district on it?
Yeah, we pulled this off,
And that property is owned by the same property ownership from the ownership.
I am not entirely, it looks to me like the parcel that we're showing here corresponds to this, so it seems like this entire acreage owned by the houses is two sections that are joined by this kind of corridor, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so, and a portion, and the county property line slices through it, I mean,
Yes, ma'am.
it's unfortunate that it's split into so many jurisdictions. We don't have any information on the zoning that is in effect in
We have a
Chatham.
letter from Port Wentworth.
Okay, so, right, the Port Wentworth portion, they do say that surface mining is
entire tract of
appropriate.
Port- all of that 75 acres is approved for a dirt pit.
Right, so surface mining is not at all an objection tonight. You know, we know that's happening there, so that's not in any way coloring our opinion here. The concern is that container storage is what's being contemplated, and Godley Road is in no way, has not been shown to be properly built to, or constructed to survive along.
But I'm not asking for container storage. What I'm asking
Right.
for is industrial zoning, and whoever buys it would have to come back and get a sketch plan approval to do whatever y'all say they can do.
Right.
Yeah, but the industrial pretty much opens the door tonight.
Well, it was own business before, and then when I went and put a ATV park, the county required me to go to AR1. I don't know why, that didn't really make sense to me, because it was already zone B2 at one point. And so we went back to the AR1 and then started a business. The city of Bloomingdale has approached me and tried to get me to put the Chatham County Fair out there, and a circus and all kind of crazy stuff, which I turned them down. So it.
Movies out there, we've had all kinds of stuff
Right.
out there.
Right, yeah, the.
Now we're just trying to narrow it down.
Anyway, any other questions? Be glad to answer.
I'm good. Anything else?
We won't build some concrete pipe out at us.
You have to get it to Jimmy DeLoach.
I hear you, but.
You ain't gonna be able to carry
Well,
it down.
And you look at, like, the county, they got an industrial park right behind Westwood Heights. It's gonna come out through all, and put an industrial, and we got an industrial authority trying to put industrial land in the county because it benefits the county. When we could go out there now, I guess, and rezone it AR2 and put, I don't know how many homes, a bunch.
And you're educating children that we're having to pay for.
So anyway.
All right, y'all ready to make a motion? Please,
This is a hard one.
for the love of God. I don't care. I mean, it's going to the commissioners.
Yeah.
This is a recommendation. I mean, there's been a lot of good discussion, so. Anyway. I call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to deny based off of staff's summary and report and the lack of a plan being presented.
Have a motion for denial. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second that. All those in favor of denial?
Aye.
Any opposed? For motion carries 4-1. And you know it's just a recommendation.
Yes, sir.
And item 12 was
Postponed.
postponed.
Can I say something about that?
Yes, sir.
On item 12, most of those lots had sales agreements on them that they pulled, but my lot is partial 5 on map 477A. Mine never got pulled, and I don't want it postponed.
You don't want it what?
Postponed.
Postponed.
No, I'd like to go ahead with the rezoning tonight. I don't have anything, I'm not affiliated with those other properties.
Well, the agent for Miss Igo requested that it be postponed.
Actually, I'm the one that signed the rezoning papers on this and sent in. I'm not affiliated with them. They're all next door to me, but they're separate of me.
There were 7 lots altogether, Mary Ego et al. So there's a total of, I believe, 7 owners there. 2 of the property owners of Abercorn Acres lots, you'll see these 2, in fact, have called us and provided written confirmation that they wish to withdraw their parcels from consideration of industrial rezoning at this time. So the houses then asked to postpone the rezoning of all of the parcels until further notice. And we were.
Which lot is yours?
Lot 5.
So it's the one
She
here.
has nothing to do with my lot or my sales or anything.
But it's part of a larger application, so the applicant, the agent, Cindy House, has requested to postpone it, so.
Yeah, did you see
I signed rezoning papers at the bank, and they sent them in.
You did, but I let your agent know that it was being
take a step back and look at that board, you see it's all tied together.
Well, it ain't supposed to be. That one right there is mine.
Like, see, it's tied in with their overall plan.
So mine's getting postponed?
Yes,
That's
sir.
really gonna screw me up bad.
I'm sorry, it'll be a month.
Yeah, now I'm gonna lose the house I'm trying to buy.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna bug y'all one more time. I'm gonna be on my high horse for a second, so y'all just forgive me. Y'all know it's coming. This industrial growth is moving our way. It's moving our way. And these poor families, and I do hate it for him, these poor families are on an emotional roller coaster, and they are dealing with all kinds of things. But they're being told, unfortunately, that once it's zoned industrial, they can't live there anymore. And so they're wanting to pull it away. Now, obviously not him. And I did let his agent know that I was postponing everything for the rest of them because they got scared and they can't afford a mortgage here and a mortgage over here right now. They're relying on the sale of that property to buy something for them to move their family into. These people have raised their children there. I mean, they've been there for 20 years. They're gonna make good money when it sells, but they just don't have the means, and they're dealing with all kinds of issues, kids in college, health issues, I mean, all kinds of things. Y'all, my heart bleeds for them, and even over there on Godly Road, it really does for everybody. But the industrial's coming, and they are gonna get pushed out, basically, is what's happening. We had a sale on the entire parcel, and the buyer ended up pulling out at the last minute. It was to close September 2nd. So these people have really, like I say, they've been on an emotional roller coaster. They're sitting there with their boxes all packed up, you know, thinking they were gonna get a check, and now they're sitting there. So I don't know, I'm trying to, yeah, I mean, we're trying real hard to market it for them again, but it's just been a very difficult time. And they have and y'all have already approved the stature investments, and the commissioners have already approved the stature investments. So that's coming in all around them. The Effingham County Industrial Authority is just up the street. So, I mean, the industrial is right there. The office is right there. I mean, it's there. There's Exeter is right there, Estes Trucking, the Greenland Developers, is the P51s across the street. That logistics parkway is literally across the street from some of these people. So, I mean, it's there. It's right there. And, yeah, so I'm coming, I've been asking Ms. Teresa, I've blown up her email, but I've asked, you know, what can we do? Like, how can we help these people? You know, is there a variance? Is there some kind of conditional something? Like, what do we need to do and try and help these people?
But you
Yeah,
pulled-
to be
you
able to
pulled
live
that
there.
one Because
So
the buyer
they-
backed out?
Right now, they do not have a buyer. The buyer backed out that had them all under contract. And I'm working really hard to try and find them somebody else. There is a lot of interest in that area. But what has happened right now, they're all scared because they're told if they go ahead and go through with the industrial, same kind of thing that we're experiencing over on Godly Road, the people want it rezoned industrial. When they come in to buy, they want it already zoned. But you can't live there if it's already zoned industrial. So there's got to be some way, and I mean, it's coming, but there's got to be some way that these people can stay there for a little bit until they get the money that they can buy. You know, it's
I mean, I'm not trying to cut you off, and I get it, especially in this kind of situation. I mean, I would probably issue them a temporary, you know, They got to be, if they can work something out with the buyer
Yes.
to stay there, I could care less.
And
hold-
I
but-
guess,
but let me
is that
just-
what they're doing?
But let me just interrupt you, Cindy.
Yeah.
We can sit here and talk about this all night.
Oh, I know, I'm not trying to.
This board can't do, come on,
I
Greg.
know,
We
I
can't
know.
do anything, man.
I know,
I mean, you need to be here tomorrow, okay?
right. I know. I know I need to be here tomorrow.
But that's what I would appeal to the commissioners.
Okay.
Is there I mean, the stance though, if we asked the athletic, they would have
That's
to
why
move
I'm
the next
asking,
day?
is it a variance, is it a?
So, you know, staff did not go out and contact property owners and tell them to get off their land. We were contacted by property owners who asked us what is permitted in industrial, is residential use permitted in industrial, and we correctly said, no, it is not. We did not then say, you will have to leave and we will chase you out. And as you pointed out, the land just south there has just been approved for rezoning, and tomorrow night we'll have second reading on the buffer variance. So we are aware that those folks are probably in the process of moving out. We're not sending code enforcement out there. That is, we are no way.
How it works, I mean.
Right, there'll be a lag, yeah.
And it's official, but until the new buyer takes over, I mean.
And until we have a sketch plan, I mean, we know, based on what Chesterfield and Stature submitted, we know, generally speaking, what they plan to do there. This is what they plan to do there.
They didn't understand it that way. They understood, I mean, they called me crying. They understood that once it was zoned industrial, they had to be out. And they did not understand.
Throw people out there, damn.
But another difference is that this site sketch plan, or site plan I've got up here, this is what was proposed. From this, we could determine what the buffers should be, whether a berm was required, and in fact, an additional condition was added relating to a berm. So we feel like, I think I can speak for staff certainly, that we know pretty much what's coming our way. When the sketch plan application comes in, it needs to look just like this. It needs to have a lot more detail, and that will be followed by site development plans, and we think we know what we're gonna get down the road. In the case of the parcels you were representing, we had no concept plan. We had no idea who the buyer was. We knew nothing. And in fact, we went out, because that area is heavily industrial and continues to move in that direction, we did recommend approval of the rezoning, knowing that we would get a plan sooner or later. But when property owners called us and asked a simple question and got a simple answer, we had no control over how they reacted to that. We didn't intend to change anything, but if your buyer has pulled out, then you don't know what you don't necessarily know what future development will be.
I guess it didn't used to be that way. Used to, you got rezoning and then you got your sketch approval. Now you're saying you want sketch approval at rezoning?
No, not at all. We would like to see a concept plan, and when we don't have that and we get speculative rezonings, we're often very unpleasantly surprised with what we get in a concept plan. So in this case, we didn't push because we knew, given the space, given the wetland constraints, given the surrounding warehouse activity, that it was likely that we would see warehousing. When one of the sellers told us that they thought it would be a trucking company, that was a surprise. It doesn't necessarily affect anything. That's permitted in zoning.
Teresa, can I interrupt you? Listen, we can stay and talk, but I don't want Katie to have to try to write all this stuff down, so I'm going to adjourn this meeting.
Okay.
But you don't have to leave. I mean, we can stay here and talk about it. Meeting adjourned.
Off the record. Yeah. When you zone it,